Ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're watching me for the very first time, my name is Divine Adibola, and I talk about traveling abroad, scholarship tips, academic tips, and I also share personal story on how all of these things can be beneficial to you. So, in today's video, we are going to be talking about sending emails to potential supervisors for collaboration. I'm going to be determining it how to contact or email a professor for funding or research opportunities abroad. You understand the importance of actually securing a supervisor before applying for admission into a particular school. So, in this particular video, I'm going to be telling you how to secure a supervisor, how to know if they are funding, how to actually tailor your email in such a way that it doesn't look awful to them. And I'm also going to be sharing my own personal experience about sending mails to supervisor. If I can remember, I think I've sent over 5,000 emails. That's an exaggeration, but I've sent almost close to 5,000 emails. But let's go right into the video and let's talk about this. Wait. When you are contacting a professor outside of the country, you need to understand a lot of things so that you don't get to do it the wrong way. Most of all these things, I will be itemizing them for us in this particular video. And I'm going to be sharing us 5 important things to know when you are sending a mail to a potential supervisor. Number 1, you need to do your research very well. You need to research about the supervisor. You need to research about the supervisor's research interests. You need to research about the supervisor's publications, grants, school available from space, the number of current students the supervisor have, and many other things. It is very essential for you to know all of these things because it won't make sense for you to be contacting the supervisor in the Department of English, whereas you want to collaborate with the professor in the Department of Mathematics. It doesn't make sense, right? So you have to be very sure that the supervisor you are contacting has a research interest very close to yours. Now note, you can be contacting a supervisor in the Department of Chemistry and you want to study in the Department of Chemistry, but the supervisor is not in line with your research interest. For example, when it comes to chemistry, you have different branches, the likes of organic chemistry, biochemistry, and some other ones. Let the chemistry people decide their branches. But if you are now contacting a supervisor who is focused on organic chemistry and you want to study something like thermodynamics, you see you are doing it the wrong way. So getting to know your supervisor is very important, and that's the number 1 step. Number 2, identify funding opportunity in that department. This is mostly applicable to people who want to study in the US or the Canada. If you are sending a mail to a particular professor, first of all, do your finance very well in the department. Ask yourself, does this department have funding? Does this particular professor have funding? If you are sending a mail and your mail is perfect, everything is okay, even the professor is 100% in line with you, but there is no funding, it's more like you are just wasting your time because your professor cannot give you what they don't have. So be 100% sure that the particular professor you are messaging has funding, the school has funding for you. There is a video I did a very long time ago with one of my friends, Abraham Ojo, where he actually talked about how to identify professors with funding. You can actually check the video on my YouTube channel. The link I'll be sharing in the description below. And after watching the video and you still don't understand how to know if a professor have funding or not, then you can come back to me or tell me in the comment box if I should make an elaborate video for you on how to determine if the professor has funding or not. Number 3, compose a professional email. Now this is where the main thing comes in. This is where the main gist is. The professional email, the email you will be sending, how to construct it, how to compose it. Now note that when you are sending an email to a supervisor, it has to be perfect. It has to be formally perfect. Let me put it that way. You don't want to use abbreviations. You don't want to use some good word. You have to make sure all of the words you'll be using are professional enough to align with the professor. And I also advise that you use some terminologies in line with your research interest. For example, when I was sending my cold email back then in 2019 to a professor, I was applying for environmental engineering. I had to use some terminologies like combustion, pyrolysis, gasification, all those terminologies that is totally inside environmental engineering. Somebody who is not in environmental engineer, someone who is not an environmental engineer would be like, what are all these words? Use those words, it will catch them because they know you are really interested in it. So now, how to compose this particular email? I'll be giving you some tips on how to compose this particular email, and at the end of the video I'll be sharing you a sample of all of this email. So stick to the end of the video so that you'll be seeing the sample of all of my emails and all of the emails that I've gotten a response from supervisor that I've sent. So now, the number one tips I want you to know here is the subject line. The subject line, make the subject line as simple as possible. Make it as simple as possible. Just go straight to the point. MSc funding in this so particular department for so fall 2023. Just make it very simple, no long talk. But make sure the subject line is a full summary, one line summary of all of the things you are typing. I'll be sharing you some subject line that I've used for all of my code emails, and I'm very sure you're going to see something that interests you and something common you got. All right, let's go. Number two, the salutation. Now, when you're doing a salutation, don't just write dear sir, don't just write dear senior man. Just go professional. Address your professor as dear doctor, or dear professor. You must have done your research, right? So you would know if the person is a doctor already or the person is a prof already. But I will always advise that you mail professors, because professors are mostly the people in charge of admitting people. But there are some people who are also in charge of admitting people for funding that are not professors yet. So if you are telling them, dear professor, so, and then he's not a professor yet, it's signaling that you've not done your research well. You understand? So that is where your research comes to play. And I also advise that if you are not sure if the person is a doctor or professor, it's better for you to use a professor. Maybe because I'm from Nigeria. In Nigeria, if you call a professor doctor, you have entered wahala. So it's better you just use professor. It's an hierarchy from doctor to professor. So it's better for you to call them something above what they are than for you to call them something below what they are. I think they vex them, you understand? So now for the introduction part, you must have done your research very well. Start by introducing yourself, state your academic background. You can talk about your achievements, your awards, talk about your current research interests, talk about the researches you've done, talk about the reason why you are contacting them. Just go straight to point. No long story. They don't have time. Just go straight to point. And mention any projects you've done whatsoever. Just sell yourself. Let me just figure it that way. Just sell yourself. Now, the D part of this is express your interest. Clearly state that you need a funding opportunity when you are sending a cold email to a professor. Always make sure you talk about the fact that you need a funding opportunity. You can just decide to send your mail and everything. You just say, okay, no wahala. They will give you response to come and admit, but they will tell you that they don't have funding. I've received mails like that before. And I think it was Oregon State University in USA. The man said, no problem, he likes my work, is okay with me, but he doesn't have funding. So if I can self-fund myself, I should come over to the United States of America. Even University of Alabama gave me admission without funding because my application is good, everything is perfect, but funding is not available. So always make sure you talk about funding. You need funding. Now, talk about your research alignment. Talk about how your research aligns with his own. If you have a publication you've done and the publication is very, very similar with his own, you can tailor it around and tell him, sir, your publication so date is really, really interesting to me, and I've done a similar publication like that. You can even ask questions about his publication. You can tell him that, sir, what if we do this way, do this way, do this way? He will be interested, and I'm like, wow, so you read my paper, wow, that's good. Then you can actually collaborate very well. Let me share you a testimony of one of my friends in my church. She used to work for a professor, just proofreading, just online reading and readjusting, proofreading of the professor's work. After a while, the professor was just like, "Are you not interested in studying in my course?" And I was like, "Ah, oh no, who go say no?" So one said to the other, and then she's giving an admission to come study over there because the professor already understands the fact that this girl has been helping me to work. She understands my work. She's so interested in my work. So all those kind of people, it is so very easy for them to continue in line because they already understand your work. So always make sure you understand the work and align your interest with the professor's interest. It is very, very important. Now, you also need to add your qualification. You need to add your qualification in your code email. Tell them I am applying for PhD and I already have a master's. Tell them I'm applying for master's. I already have a BSc degree, or I already have a first master's degree. I want to apply for a second master's degree. There is no big deal in applying for a second master's degree. Please don't let anybody bamboozle you. You can apply for a second master's degree. It is not a big deal at all. But just make sure you convince your supervisor the reason why you want to be applying for a second master's degree. For example, I did my first master's degree in environmental engineering, and I sent cold emails early this year to professors in Canada and the likes for a second master's degree. And I had to state there that I am applying for a second master's degree because I want to change my field. I want to broaden my scope on this particular research interest. I had my first master's degree in environmental engineering. Now I want to do it in chemical engineering so that I can understand some some chemistry behind the environmental topic I did for my first degree. And it is not a big deal at all. They will surely grant it. In fact, they will be ready to take it because they know you are a master's degree holder. You have that thinking, you can think well, you've done research, you've written papers, and it will be so easy for them, easy for them to work with you. You understand? So make sure you always state your qualification and state what you want to do with them. It is very, very important. The second to the last thing I want to talk about here is that request for a meeting. It is very, very important. Request for a meeting. Then maybe towards the end of the mail, tell them, "Sir, I am available for a call or for a meeting or for an interview via Zoom or any other." All of the code emails I've sent, the ones that are really got attention, are requesting me for an interview. When I won the Commonwealth Scholarship in China, I actually did an interview with my supervisor. Then she actually set up an interview with me with some other colleagues in the research team. So they had to see me, they asked me some questions. Okay, what do you understand by this particular research topic? And I was able to answer. That is for them to be sure that this person we are admitting is really, really serious with us and is good. He can actually take up the project. You understand? So it is very important for you to request for a meeting, request for an interview, and they will surely be ready to interview you. So I will also share you some of my other experiences if you are interested, my personal experiences with interviews with professors and how I was able to go about it. Now the last thing is express your gratitude. It is, you can just use, simple as possible, just use "yours sincerely" or just use "best regards," and always put your full name. Onabanjo Adebola Divine. Make sure you put your full name. Best regards and your full name. Shikina. That's how to compose a perfect code emails to a potential supervisor. Now let's go to number 4. Proofread and edit your composed email. Proofread and edit your composed email. This is very, 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 very important. Sometimes when you are typing, when you are working on a particular project, you might have read the mail like 1,000,000 times, and then you won't see a simple mistake because it is your handwork, it is your writing. You might not be able to see some mistakes. So give it to a friend. "Oh, guy, Alpha, come read this thing." Let them read it. You can also copy it and send it to some AI platform where they can help you proofread it, check for mistakes, see if there is any grammatical error, and or then you are good to go. but just make sure you proofread and you edit and also share to people. Now, when it comes to sharing to people, no matter how perfect your email is, people will always have something to correct. Don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. There is no such thing as a perfect email. For example, the email that got me funding in China to study environmental engineering, I sent that particular code email to someone, and the person was like, "Guy, that rubbish you write, that rubbish you write." But the email actually got me funding. There's another email that got me an interview with a professor in Toronto Metropolitan University in Canada. If I send that code email to someone, they will still have things to correct. That is just how it is. Don't feel bad. But the main idea about it is just for you to correct the grammatical errors inside. And all of the things I've said in number 3, if all of them are embedded in your email, then you don't need to worry about if my code email is perfect or not. What matters is that you are conveying a message. Even the best students in the world, if they should copy the person's code email or maybe statement of purpose or anything, and you send it to someone, they will still have things to correct. That's just how things is. They'll say, "Oh, why don't you put the paragraph 1 in paragraph 4?" The most important thing is that you are conveying your message, and there are no grammatical blunders in your code email. Number 5, send the mail. Once you are done with everything, you must have gone through a lot of stress writing all of this email. The worst thing that can ever happen to a man is after going through all this stress and then you don't send the mail. Maybe you are like, oh, to copy this supervisor's email from their website is tiring and all. Please send the mail. Alright guys, that is the 5 steps I want to tell you about sending mails to potential supervisors. Now let me give you one particular tip as the recap of everything. When you are sending mails, please note that you might send hundreds of mails and then you don't get any response. You can send 200 mails and you don't get any response. It is totally okay. It is totally normal. But the most important thing that should be at the back of your mind is that you only need one yes. You only need one interview. You only need one professor to actually say, "Okay, come work with me." You might be sending thousands of mails, but the one that would win, you don't know. So keep sending and don't give up. Earlier in the video, at the beginning of the video, I said I've sent close to 5,000 emails. It is actually not an exaggeration. I've sent close to, I don't know if I should give a numerical figure now, but I've sent, but it is well. But just keep sending and make sure you add. Oh, lest I forget, you need to attach some documents to your mail, like your resume and your publication and probably your transcript. It is very important. Alright guys, this is the end of the video, but before you go, I want to share you a sample of some cold emails, and I'll be sharing you some of them right now. The very first one I'll be starting with is, I'm going to be starting with the one ChatGPT will be giving to me. I told ChatGPT to actually give me a template of a mail to a supervisor, and this is what ChatGPT is coming up with. After reviewing ChatGPT's mail, I'm going to be sharing you about 2 or 3 of mine. And also, if you are interested in copying all of these code emails, you can join me on my WhatsApp group page or my Telegram group page. I'll be sharing the documents over there. So the WhatsApp group page is comprising of a group of interested people who are also looking for graduate scholarship. So if you're also interested in graduate scholarship, you would want to join the group page where you can actually roll with people, talk with people, and also get to share ideas. That's how we'll be running the video today. Now let's quickly go to ChatGPT and see what ChatGPT is saying. Now ChatGPT says, subject, inquiry about funding and research opportunities in your field for international studies. Now the salutation, dear professor or doctor, and you write the name of the professor. I hope this email finds you well. My aim is your full name, and I'm writing to express my interest in pursuing funding and research opportunities abroad in the field of your field of study. I recently came across your work on so research topic and was fascinated by your contribution to the field. Your expertise in mention the name of the research aligns perfectly with my own research interests. I am particularly impressed by mention the publication or the project and how it impacts on the impact area. Just mention that. As an international student with a strong passion for research, I am eager to explore opportunities that would allow me to broaden my academic horizon and work alongside esteemed researchers like yourself. I believe that your mentorship and guidance would be invaluable in shaping my research trajectory. I have been researching potential funding and research opportunities abroad and came across programs such as mention it. I was wondering if you have any current or upcoming opportunities available for international students in your lab or research group. I'm eager to contribute to ongoing projects or explore new research topics under your mentorship. Please provide you with a brief overview of my qualification. I have completed my degree program at the University of So with a specialization in So. I have gained research experience through Dash. Additionally, I have developed strong skills in Dash that are directly applicable to the research being conducted in your laboratory. I would greatly appreciate the opportunities to meet you to discuss potential research topics, learn more about the publication process for these funding opportunities, and explore the possibility of joining your research group. I am available for a meeting or phone or video call at your convenience. Please let me know what works best for you. Thank you very much for considering my request. I look forward to hearing from you. Sincerely, your full name and then your contact information. And you see how simple it is. Very, very simple. Now, I'll also be sharing with you my own particular mail that I used to send to professors. And please note, I always change my mail from time to time, depending on who I'm sending it to, depending on the university I'm sending it to. But the next part of the video is sample of all of my old emails. I'll only be reviewing about 2 to 3 of them, and then we'll talk about. If you need the sample, you can contact me on the WhatsApp group page. The description is to the group. The link to the group is going to be in the description down below. Alright guys, bye, thank you, and don't forget to like, comment and share and subscribe to my YouTube channel. You don't want to miss any video that comes out of this place. And also, if you want me to talk about any other video, any other topic, tell me in the comment box below. I'll surely do that for you. Bye.